Hello and welcome back. My name is Deanna. This is The Visual Aspect, and I'm so excited to start this new series with y'all. Okay, so I had this thought just to kind of get the new year started, is to kind of create, not kind of because I'm doing it, but is to create a series just called Girl Chats, and it's going to focus on 3 different areas: finances, health and wellness, home and style. Home and style being like together as the last part, and then health and wellness is like the second video. So these are 3 areas of my life that I have been focusing on probably for the last 5 to 7 years. They have evolved. My systems that I have set up have like changed and iterated on as I have grown in my career, in my everyday life, personally, and then also with my finances. And now I feel way more confident in the place that I am today. And I want to share with you just a few things that I have done to kind of get there. I am confident now. I wasn't always confident, and it has definitely grown in all of these areas. So I'm just excited to share that. But this first video, we're coming in hot and heavy. We're talking about finances. And I want to get this one done first, honestly, because this has been my biggest area of growth. Let's keep it positive and say that. I have had a okay relationship with money, to a extremely poor relationship with money, to a okay relationship, and then we're working on it, and now I feel like I am in a much better place, confident, excited for my financial goals. I've never felt like that before, and so that's why I wanted to share my journey with this. And just, this is like inspirational. I am not a financial advisor or anything. I am just sharing my personal experience. I am not gonna I can probably talk through a few tools that I use, but this is going to be something you would need to sit with yourself with, research, do some deep internal work, because everyone's finances are different. The bigger message here is more so about a couple of points that I'm about to get into. So a little bit of background. I went to college at UTSA, UT in San Antonio. I got my bachelor's degree in Bachelor of Science in Interior Design. And then right after I graduated, I moved to Austin, where I worked at Apple for a little bit. I'm in the occupancy space planning world. It's very niche within the interior design field. Like interior design meets real estate strategy, meets demand planning, transactions. It's very niche. But that's where I did my first internship in San Antonio, and that's where I kind of figured out what facilities within tech and all of that stuff. My whole career has been in tech. Context before I kind of jump into a few other things later on. My relationship with finances has been a ever evolving journey. I've been okay, it's there, to once I graduated college and I moved into my first apartment in Austin, it just really hit me in the face, because I just didn't really take it too seriously. And then whenever my dad or my older brother would share their budgets with me, because it was just way too complex, and it would just stress me out, honestly. And so I was just tried to simplify it down, but then I was starting my first job, got my first apartment, getting my furniture, all these things were happening, and it's something that I didn't really take seriously until the student loans started. And then I was whoa, this is a lot. This is a lot. So that's where my relationship with money was kind of just okay, like I'm figuring this out. And those first couple of years in Austin, that's how it was. And then I also did like the Dave Ramsey course, because the church I was going to at the time, they had the like a course there that you could take, and there's like other people there, and it's like, honestly, it's great to like work on stuff like this when you're going to a class every week. And so I actually did, I know everyone has their own like thoughts about Dave Ramsey, but to me, it just really helped simplify a budget and do something that has like actionable steps that I could work on. So I actually did the program, I think twice, actually no, 3 times, twice with like an in-person class, and then I just had the materials, so I did it a 3rd time. But what really set off, when I say set off, and like the downward spiral, was when my relationship ended in 2020. I was just like teetering on the edge, like between like, I had a couple credit cards and too much shopping, the loans were there. It would make me so overwhelmed to see how much the loan payments were, and I'm like, then I got a roommate, and you know, I was just really trying to figure out all the different points of life, and of course, like with like families like asking you questions and you just don't feel like you're doing a good job, it just brought my confidence down a lot. And then in return, I would just be like, kind of like, whatever, like I'm just gonna live my life and do whatever I want to do. You know, that's not a good habit either. So for certain, what set it off was like, what set it off hitting rock bottom was definitely when my relationship ended, because I was just so depressed, and I would spend money on things that I didn't need. I was like drinking a lot and just buying clothes that I didn't need, because I also was doing like my blog and like trying to like do things that would make me happy. And yeah, it got to a really bad point. And then it was about like 2021, I was like, I want to start dating seriously. I was like looking at my life. I had also just gone through like a friendship with like these couple other people, like that had ended. It was very like traumatic in a way. And so there was just like this moment of like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to, I'm so insecure about my money. I'm so overwhelmed with my budget. My life is just like, it's like I just went through this phase, like that post-breakup phase, you know, like you're just, for me, it was just like spending too much and drinking too much. And I just got to a point where it's just like, I just don't want to do this anymore. I stop. Like, so I just literally like nitpicked and just like ripped apart every little section of my life. And I was like, I want a new career. I want, like, I can't live in this apartment again anymore. I have to make more money, because like it's just not gonna work if I don't change anything. And so in the beginning of 2022, I began, like I wrote down like where I wanted to live. Like I began the whole process. I did a video about this, so you can watch that there if you want in depth. But I started interviewing at new places. And then in 2022, that's when I did my other budget again, like one more time, doing the Dave Ramsey like system. And May 2022, that's when I got offered the role to start at the new tech company and like relocate from Austin to New York. And then of course, like once I got my offer letter and all these things, I was like, my life is going to change for the better in a way that I never thought it would. So I was just so overwhelmed and grateful, but also just didn't believe it until it like was in my bank account, you know, or until I was like in a place where I was actually like, I just didn't believe it. Like I didn't even believe in myself that I could even like manage my income doubling. It was just all this stuff in the back of my head. In 2024, I'm skipping ahead a little bit because I got the job in 2022, moved at the end of summer to New York, and then I was just like working. But in January 2024, I knew my review cycle was coming up And this review would be different than the one that I did last year because this would be a full year. Like it would be the full year of 2023. And so I know my base would probably go up. I had a really impactful year, and so I know I would hit my bonus, and had a feeling my rating would be really good. And then there's also, you get additional like stocks and everything like that. In that moment, I was scared. That's the only feeling I could really say. I just was scared. I was like, I'm gonna see the biggest lump sum of money deposited into my account that I've witnessed, just for me, like in my account at one time, and I'm gonna blow it like I always do. Like that was like my belief in my head. So I went to therapy. I thought that was like such a weird thing to go to therapy for, because I go to therapy about it for like other things, but it was actually mental health coaching, which is great. Mental health coaching is way more action-based than just me going and like spewing my thoughts here. And so I went through a session there. We talked through the budget. The budget was like came kind of like in the third session. The first session was like me, like I was so scared, and I was like crying because I just couldn't believe it. And I couldn't, like, it's like I was given a second chance to get it right, like this time. But I worked through that with my mental health coach, and I still had some habits that I needed to break, like bad habits that I needed to break, even from that year and a half that I had been in New York. Because it was just a little bit too loose, like those paychecks were flowing. I was like, oh, this is great. It was still a little bit, I still had a couple of bad habits I needed to break. And she identified those, we worked through that, and then just set up a plan. I did like a new budget. I set up a plan for how I was going to, like, every dollar had to go, every cent had to go somewhere. And it wasn't even, it's like one thing to talk about it, and then once it happened, it was like, I did it. Like, I did it. Like, I didn't just like blow through it all. Like, it was a really amazing feeling. I had never gotten a bonus before in my whole career, and so I did that, like, that one nice thing for myself, and then I, like, everything else, it went somewhere. And it's like, wow. Like, and then so over each quarter I had different goals, and really held myself accountable to that. And then closing out the year, I didn't hit everything, but the excitement that I felt when I was back home and I was like working through my goals for this coming year, I was working on that with my younger brother, because he is in the finance industry, and it just built up this confidence in myself that I was like, I am so excited for this next year, quarter by quarter, figuring out like what I want to do. It's like, it just opened like this other part of me that I was like, wow, I never thought I was going to be there. And I just didn't. At a certain point, I even told myself, like, you just don't even deserve, like, you deserve to be here because you put yourself here. You made these decisions, you spent this money, you got yourself in this hole, like, you deserve to be here. And so that was what, like, I think that was like the other piece of it, is just like this being scared, always being on the, what does Dave Ramsey say? You're like one step away from like a financial crisis. It was just that, and that was all I was used to, is just being under financial distress all the time. And another thing that like really pushed me to, like, something I had pushed out of the back of my mind is like back in 2022 when I was applying for apartments in New York, like, it's like applying for a house. You like show all this paperwork, your checkings, your savings, your 401k, and of course like your credit score, like your credit report and W-2 and pay stubs and everything, but like all the other stuff, you need to see my like savings. And so I was thinking, like, I think this really kicked it off in 2024 as well. Like when I went to that therapy session, was just like, oh my God, like I am gonna be like, I feel like a huge risk to whoever I'm with. Like I was like, imagine if I was doing that with my fiance or with my husband, going through the process of applying for an apartment. That is terrifying. Like I was so scared of that, and I was like, I just didn't want to feel like that anymore. No, like I'm trying to find the words, but it's such a like swap of like, wow, this is really pushing me to like, I did all the other things. Like I really reduced my drinking. I got back into a really healthy like routine with food and working out and everything like that. It's just like the money stuff was just a cloud that was hanging over me. And then when that opportunity came of just like, this is an opportunity to change your life and how you are gonna go forward, because it can just be something I just blow through and just like do the same old thing that I've always done, or I could really course correct myself and do something different. And it was the most one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done, because especially like going back and talking to like my therapist about it, because it wasn't even just like, oh, look at my numbers, I did it. It was like testing the emotional piece of it as well. And so I just wanted to share that. Hopefully this comes across in a way that is helpful. And I think just the biggest point is like, I just want to say there is nothing, I think, sexier and the most confident boosting thing for us girls. Like, yes, it's so fun to be like, I'm just a girl, I don't know bills, I don't, this is that. But like, it's fun to be like that, but then also know that you have a grip on your finances, and that if you aren't there yet, there's still like little things that I'm working on. Know that you're working towards something. Or maybe you're already there and you're like, I'm good. But this is something that I've been working on so diligently and so hard, and it's been like one of the biggest areas of transformation in my life, and was so exciting to do that. It's such a touchy subject, and it's so sensitive, but it's like, even from the first tiny step of just like looking at all of your debt and seeing all of your habits and breaking those bad habits, and then just continuing to work on it. I think we all have different areas of our life that like we are better at. I think some of my other videos are going to be a bit more easier to record. This one is long and also kind of stresses me out. I just wanted to share, like, this is like a pretty like kind of vulnerable topic for me to talk about, but like I just wanted to share any sort of like just talk about it in a way that's like, it is so overwhelming, it is so hard, it is so challenging, it's a lot. Student loans are a lot. Trying to live it on your own is a lot. Every time you feel it, whenever you're trying to budget, whenever you're trying to make moves, there's this feeling of like, I want to be in a better place, and it's hard. Even going and finding a new job is hard these days. Like, it's hard to adjust and pivot, but you can do it. I just encourage you to take some time to sit with yourself and figure out what you really want, and know that like I broke free of those beliefs of just thinking like, it went from like, okay, like whatever, like I'll figure it out, to like, to the point to where I was like so down up in the dumps about this whole thing, to thinking, oh, this is just all I deserve. Like I didn't deserve to be financially like free in any way. It's like, this is something that I'll just carry this with me for the rest of my life, you know? So, but yeah, I don't know how many people like, I don't know, people present themselves however they want on the interweb, but it's, take those first steps, that first step of even just like analyzing and understanding where you're at financially, where you can make improvements, and even look into going to therapy, because there is just some beliefs that can be holding you back. And it really was helpful for me to work through that, and with a therapist first, because I knew like I was already doubting myself. And if my brain is telling me one thing, like my actions are just gonna follow that. So I really, really encourage you, if there's anything that you need, you can always feel free to send me an email too. Like we can chat more about it in that form too. But leave a comment below. Maybe we can just like chat about our things like down here, and we can encourage each other. But this, like, whatever small step you can take this year, I really hope that you do that. But yeah, this topic was hot and heavy. Well, hot and heavy for me. You know, it's kind of like, you know, everyone just like glazes over things like that. But like, just know that as much as people show their lives, it's just, everybody's going through something for sure. Or majority of people are going through something. But focus on you, figure out what you need to do. And yeah, I hope you feel encouraged. You got this, we got this. We're gonna be so financially confident coming into this next year, and I'm so excited to chat about that with you guys. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if it was a little bit long and drawn out, but I wanted to provide some context and also like share a little bit about my story, because I am just in a place now that I'm like, I just want to talk about this all the time. Like I don't feel so like just scared or anything as much as I was. So but yeah, like and subscribe. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.